Hey everybody. I haven't done this for a while, but I want to just give a little shout out to all of you, my subscribers and viewers, and I just want to let you all know how grateful I am for you, and I really appreciate your comments. I appreciate hearing your stories, and I really love your contributions in the comments below. So keep it up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. Anyway, just wanted to let you all know, and so here goes with my next video. Growing up on the Bruderhof, I never gave much thought to the fact that everyone around me, like my parents, my friends' parents, my teachers, our neighbors in the apartment next to us, were all living in community. I'm not even sure how old I was when I actually realized that not everyone in the world lives like this. I think that's probably kind of how kids are all over the world. You know, they just take things for granted and they just like live their lives. Anyway, what I'm leading up to is that when I was older and I first heard the term intentional community, I kind of stumbled over it, because what's intentional about community? For me, as a child, community just is, and it's how I've lived, my whole life. And some of you are probably thinking, jeepers, Laura, you're kind of naive. You need to get out more, which I did. When I got older, I went to public high school, and then I went to college, and I also spent some time living in Luton, which is just north of London, for like a year. Anyway, I've done a bunch of stuff. So in my experience, I have met a lot of people who weren't satisfied with the way they were living and were looking for something different. Many of these people were visitors at our community, people who would come for a day or for a few days, and sometimes even for a few months, to live with us and work with us. Usually when someone comes to visit, they're assigned to a host family to make sure they're well taken care of during their stay. Anyway, my parents often volunteered to host visitors, and as a child, I just loved it. When people I'd never met before would walk into our living room and join us at the breakfast table, or sit across from us at lunch in the communal dining room, or come to our house in the evening and talk until late at night. And the best part for me about the late night stuff was that us kids got to stay up late and talk and also eat chocolate. Sorry. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit distracted, but what I'm trying to say is that I found it so exciting to meet people who were seriously considering living intentionally in community. Anyway, all this came to mind when I was reading this article on the Bruderhof website, and I'm sure I've mentioned the Voices blog before to you, but this particular one was an article by David Johnson, who any student who has attended the Mount Academy High School, which is the high school here, they'll know him well, because he and his wife Tabea were teachers and mentors for many years. And also Chris and I had the privilege of living next to them when Branson was a baby, and we received a lot of great parenting advice. And anyway, all side note. So in this article, David writes about a recent visit to the Koinonia farm in Georgia. Oh, I forgot to mention, a couple years ago on my blog, I also did a grape pruning video with him, so you can look that up somewhere out there on YouTube. Anyway, sorry. So David writes about the Koinonia farm in Georgia, which is the intentional community that his parents joined as a newly married couple. And I want to read a few parts of the article here, because it's an amazing story of seeking and not being satisfied with the status quo, and it certainly challenged me when I read it. In the late 1940s, searching desperately for an alternative to the American dream, my parents visited and corresponded with many other people who were looking for the same thing. One of these was Clarence Jordan, a farmer and New Testament Greek scholar who founded the Koinonia farm in southwest Georgia. Dad and Mom grew to love Clarence like a father and credited him with opening their eyes to the radical gospel of Jesus Christ that called all men and women to live as brothers and sisters, sharing lives and possessions in intentional Christian community. His friendship, love, and example redirected their lives from the trap of upward mobility, respectable racism, and a patriotism that they honored with military service in World War II. My father served in the Army, Air Forces, and my mother in the Waves. Even then, my father treasured a letter that Clarence wrote to him in 1945, and I'm just going to read a little quote from that letter. It says, Someday, maybe sooner than you think, you'll be in civilian life. No doubt you've given some thought as to how you will invest your life so that it will count most for Christ and His kingdom. I know neither your thoughts nor your plans, but I do want you to know that the door is wide open to you here at Koinonia. I believe that we're on the trail of something, and it's not just a rabbit. We can't offer you comfort or money, but sweat and heartbreak in a cause worth dying for. The hour is at hand when Christians must assert themselves with the courage of martyrs, else Christianity might be relegated to the cloisters of the Middle Ages. God forbid that we should fail in an hour like this. And then David goes on. Shortly after their wedding in 1949, my parents joined Koinonia. Morris Mitchell, founder of the now dissolved Macedonia Cooperative Community, told them at the time that 2,000 years of Christian history are littered with the dead bones of Christian intentional communities. By any human reckoning, Koinonia's bones should have been added to that pile long ago. Clarence Jordan recognized this, and he wrote to his son Jim in 1966, "This is what always baffles me. Koinonia is forever dying and forever living. We should have conked out long ago, but somehow others came in the nick of time. We can't succeed and we can't fail. This half-born condition is agonizing, and I could wish it otherwise, but there it is." So, that's the end of the quote. And I love the line that says, 2,000 years of Christian history... Oh, wait, sorry, let me get this right. It says, 2,000 years of Christian history are littered with the dead bones of Christian intentional communities. You could say that that is pretty depressing, to think of all those failed attempts at living in community, but it's also amazing to look back over the hundreds of years and think out all those many people who are challenged by the words of Jesus, and they felt they needed to at least try to live in a way that aligned with His commandments, even if it often didn't work out. So, anyway, that's pretty much all the thoughts I had for today, and I'm sitting here at the Mount, just looking forward to when COVID is over, when you all can come visit us here and we can share together and keep seeking and looking for what Jesus wills for our lives. So I wish you all the best. Stay well, stay healthy, and I will see you next week. Bye.